Agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Hughes.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I rise to speak on this motion, not in support of the motion, but I do acknowledge, certainly, that the Prime Minister has reminded us in recent days it's now been 10 months of this Albanese Labor government. And in the lead-up to the election in May last year, Labor made many promises. The Prime Minister has recently said that Australians have had a good 10 months. I am yet to meet a single Australian, Deputy Speaker, who has said that he or she has had a good 10 months. Nobody in my electorate of Hughes has had a good 10 months. Nobody has said that to me, and I have no doubt that nobody will say that to me. Because, Deputy Speaker, in the last 10 months we have had 9 consecutive rate increases under this government, a rate of rises that we haven't seen in 30 years. We now have a cash rate sitting at 3.6%, and that translates so that the average Australian mortgage holder, and I have 30% of my electorate hold mortgages, they are now paying on average $1,700 a month more, which is $20,000 a year they have to find after tax, Deputy Speaker. These are not Australians saying to me that they've had a good 10 months, and the next 10 months are not looking any better at all. And I want to talk specifically about things like electricity. There are no Australians that I've met or have spoken to me that have said that their electricity has gone down by the $275 that was promised by this Labor government in the lead-up to the election. Instead, we've seen massive increases in power prices and no plan to address that increase. Particularly in my home state of New South Wales, Australians are now paying $564 a year more than we were before the May election of last year. Only on the weekend, Deputy Speaker, when I went and bought my coffee at Bianca Nero Cafe, just in Guyamere, just adjoining my electorate, the owner there, George, said to me he is now paying $50,000 a year in electricity. That's a small cafe in the suburbs in Sydney, and that is not sustainable for a small business. Then if we look at franking credits, Labor promised in the lead-up to the election there'd be no change to franking credits. They saw in 2019 what happens if you tell Australians that they're going to change their franking credits. But this time around, we're not making any changes, people. And then, as soon as they're in, there is the backflip, and now we've got changes to franking credits. And this impacts a lot of self-funded retirees, a lot of older Australians, Deputy Speaker, and it's older Australians that this government has said that they have come in to try and assist. Well, not in my electorate they're not assisting them, and not throughout Australia are they assisting them. Talking of broken promises, let's look at superannuation. Superannuation belongs to the superannuant holder. They have earned the money over the years, and it is their money. It is not for the federal government to get into power on promises of we're not touching your superannuation and to come in and to start making changes. And particularly, the current Prime Minister on the 2nd of May 2022 said, "We've no intention to make any super changes." Jim Chalmers, our current Treasurer, "Look, we've said about superannuation that we would maintain the system." That was in March 2022 to the ABC Insiders program. And then what happens, Deputy Speaker? They're in power and now suddenly running a little bit short of money, so they're coming after the money of Australian workers. Then we look at Australian families. I've already spoken about electricity bills. I would like to find these Australian families. I'd like to find the Australian families that have had this good 10 months that the Prime Minister's speaking about. I note the interjections across the side. I'm sure that the member's going to point to quite a few Australians who are telling us what a good 10 months they have had. Deputy Speaker, When Labor comes into power, they break their promises and we always pay more under a Labor government.
And I thank the member for Hughes. The question